I find Vinny, Rajesh, and Manjunath, and who else?
We have around 15 participants, sir.
15. Oh.
Yes.
Would you like to name them?
1-5. 1-5.
Yeah, that's a
We
good number.
Yes,
Would
sir.
you, shall we name them one after the other, please?
We have Mr. Kashinath Patan Shetty from Ace Designers, Mr. Lakshmikant Aras from Jerb Vibration, Mr. Manjunath H, Mr. Rajendra Desai, Ms.
Slow,
Padmavati
slow,
from
slow,
Maclocks,
slow, slow, slow.
Mr.
But
Rajesh,
Lakshmi
Mr.
Kant,
Lakshmikant from Jerb Vibration, sir.
scaled vibration, I know.
Jerb Vibration.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And then Manjunath.
Yes, Mr. Manjunath. I'll share the list to you, sir. Sure. Post the
No,
session.
no. Yeah, yeah, okay. Or you can
Okay.
project it on the screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so that,
So,
Dr. Randeep can get an idea of the participants and their background.
yes, definitely, sir.
Okay.
So, shall we
Now,
commence, sir?
shall we commence?
Thank you. A very good morning to each one of you. On behalf of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome you all for this exclusive session on MSMEs to expand business opportunities and become future ready. The session is conducted by Mr. Randeep Sudan, CEO of Multiverz. Thank you very much, Mr. Randeep Sudan, for accepting our invitation to address at this session, sir. The session is organized under the aegis of MSME and Skill Development Expert Committee, chaired by Mr. H.R. Jairam, who is the Director of CS Aerotherm, co-chaired by Mr. Sunil Telkar, Aspiro Consulting, and Bala Panikumar, Director Skill Development of Brigade BCIC Skill Development Academy, and mentored by Dr. Jacob Krasta, Chairman of CM Enviro Systems. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind participation, and a special thanks to Mr. Raju Bhatnagar, who is the former Secretary General of the Chamber, for facilitating this session. Now, I'd like to briefly introduce Mr. Randeep Sudan. He is the founder of Multiverz, company established in Singapore that aspires to leverage data analytics for helping workers, companies, and governments to better prepare for disruption in labor markets. He is currently the board advisor for Ecosystem Technology Research and Advisory firm of Recruit Pal, a platform for helping SMEs to better adapt to technology shifts. He has served as the global advisor for digital strategy and practice manager for information and communication technologies at the World Bank. In these roles, he and his team have provided policy support and funding to governments in the areas of broadband, mobile infrastructure development, provisions of digital services, and growth of the IT industry. Before joining the World Bank, Mr. Randeep Sudan was a member of the Indian Administrative Service and served in the state of Andhra Pradesh. He helped the state to become a leader in digital government and prominent international destination for IT-based services in the country. That's quite a amazing profile. And thank you very much, sir, on behalf of the chamber, once again, for accepting our invitation to address our members on this important subject. Now, I would request Mr. H.R. Jairam, Chairman of MSME Expert Committee, to set the context. Over to you, sir.
You are on mute.
You are on mute, sir.
Sorry. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. We have just been joined by Dr. Devarajan, who is the president of Bangalore Chamber of Industries and Commerce. And welcome to you, sir. Welcome to you, sir.
Good morning.
Oh,
Good morning,
It's
sir. Good
always
morning,
pleasure
sir.
to have you back.
Yeah. Nice to see you. Yeah. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Randeep, the MSME category in India is basically classified into three areas. One is micro, one is small, and one is medium. based on investment and turnover. To give an example, up to 1 crore and 5 crore sales or micro, and between 10 and 50 crores are small, and 10 crores investment and 50 crores turnover. And beyond 50 crores investment and up to 250 crores of sales are generally classified as the medium scale units. Unlike in some of the countries, they are classified based on their employment. In India, the government, has decided on the investment and the sales. Earlier, it was investment. Now it is both investment and sales. And most of the micro or essentially are very, very small, maybe hardly employing 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 people. And some of them are also their large units and NGOs like Lijat, etc. But we are basically a body representing small and medium enterprises, not as much as a micro sector. Micro sector is very large, almost constituting is about 90. As per the latest Government of India's census, it's about 6 crore MSMEs are there in the country. And almost 98, 99% essentially cover the micro units. Small and medium units are hardly 2%. And they constitute almost a majority of the sales and turnover. And BCIC has about 850 members, and out of them, almost about 80% are SMEs. We represent both manufacturing and a few services units, including educational institutions and a few NGOs as well. So we are a diverse body, but character of the SMEs is largely manufacturing. And one of the biggest industrial estate in Bangalore is located in Pina, which is a northwest of Bangalore, northeast of Bangalore. And it has almost about 6,000 to 8,000 units in an area of about 25 square kilometers. And we also have a state level body called CASIA, which has a membership around 12 to 15,000 units. Again, mostly small and medium enterprises. And most of these units are started by entrepreneur who has had some experience, in either manufacturing or any institution. And very rarely people like Rasta who are fresh from college have started, but most of them, have generally had some experience before. And depending on their experience, they have started in the area where they have some expertise. And these institutions, to give you an idea, they are very thinly managed. Most of the units, have a managerial infrastructure. They're very thin managerial layers. Basically, it has a owner who manages most of the day-to-day operations, maybe one accountant, maybe one secretary, and maybe one marketing fellow. Some units also have marketing people. Generally, the management consists of about 3 or 4 small units. In case of medium units, they are much larger and better organized. They have all the appurtenances of a large unit. They have all the functional heads, like CEO, and then the finance head, HR head, and the manufacturing head, and purchase head, etc. And maybe in some cases, quality. And technologically speaking, they are not, as Dr. Devarajan is very fond of moving them into Industry 4.0. And my own impression is most of us in the SME sector or industry somewhere between 2.0 or 3.0. And it's a really big challenge. Probably if you move all of them into 4.0, you will beat Japan very, very fast. And probably persons like you would greatly contribute to moving these units into 4.0 or whatever that nearby. And the chamber is helping the coordinating and helping the small scale units in all areas. For example, we conduct seminars, workshops on manufacturing, technology, quality, and recently we have signed up an agreement with Japanese government MITI, but the small scale sector. And we have an office in Japan too, in Tokyo. And we are leveraging that our office to match the interested units, interested members, and we also entertain member units other than members who are desirous of collaborating or taking help of Japanese companies. And we have identified in a first tranche, about 10 companies have been identified, and they are going to tie up with the Japanese companies. And we are also moving into other areas, like social responsibility, CSR, as well as hospitality, various. We have about 27 expert committees and sector area or function wise, which covers all aspects of industry and business. And we are also our voice is heard favorably in the state government. We are stronger in state government compared to other associations. And we do take the issues, whatever is relevant to the industry, with the state government for resolution. And Dr. Devarajan, if you would like to add something, I'll be happy.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you have covered the majority of what we are doing. Randeep San, we are around 47 years in, and we have major industries like Toyota, Volvo, Bosch, TVS, among our members, along with the startup, along with the education institutions. And we strongly believe communication, constant communication among the members, sharing the best practices, and technology is a key driver for the past few years now. And we have something like in the last year, we did something like 250 seminars a year. So almost one seminar almost each day in a year. So that is the reach we have. That is a contact we have with many of the industries. And like what Jairam did mention, that since the progress of country is being seen very much in terms of GDP growth, in terms of the GST being paid, people are participating in terms of development. And we feel that it is an important thing. It's important thing now to ensure that we have continuous interaction with the members. So we believe that this type of seminars and experts like you can bring in a lot of new ideas and new technologies into us. In the last week, we had a manufacturing conclave where we had very good attendance and good participation from many of the members. And we had a visit to Kia Motors in terms of the technology there. So I think it is a journey in which you have taken. And in this MSMEs also, and in this one, we are also working with Brigade, BCIC Brigade, that we have skill development, including members like hospitality, construction, hospital, many areas like that. And then we give certification in the joint training so that our entire base level skill increases and our quality level also increases. So I think, and in terms of what Jairam did mention, we are trying to see how digitization can help all the industries. So in terms of whether you call Industry 4.0 or you can call it as a basic sensors to capture information, to improve productivity, to improve consistency, to bring in transparency in what you're doing. Because we feel that it is not given. We have to work towards improvement. India is young, it's okay. We are growing number 5, it's okay. But it is not given. So we have to work towards it, and to work towards it, associations like us will enable many of our industries to handle, understand, share, and then grow together in this area. So, and if you don't do it, there are many other countries coming in. Vietnam is on the way, Thailand is on the, it cannot be given. So we feel that the action is now and technology to be applied is now. So that's the reason why I'm trying to push all the MSMEs saying that, yes, let's go forward. That's what we are trying to work with Japanese institutions also and see how government can help us. But the main thing is it can happen only when there is togetherness. MSMEs along with main industries as an extended enterprise. We can't be calling a supplier or a developer like that. It is an extended enterprise along with the education institutions. So that is the main thing of BCIC, Randeep, and we have leadership talk every month, and we have the women leadership awards given, startup awards given. That's the area where we are growing. And next month, in the month of March, we have the World Trade Center coming into Bangalore. We are the knowledge partner around 85 countries coming into Bangalore, and we want to make Karnataka, Namma Karnataka, the gateway for future India. So I think that's the overall thing which I like to share, and we'd like to listen to you more. And I think we have experts like Krasta and Jairam who can take up this MSME forward in a big way, sir. Thank you very much again for accepting our invitation. And sir, I'm looking forward for your extremely good talk to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. You set the note.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I would
Thank
like
you,
to
sir.
invite you to share with us your advice and experiences, and what you feel is the best for the SMEs in the country. Over to you, sir.
So thank you very much. And it's a real privilege to be meeting with all of you. And thank you, Dr. Devarajan, for setting the context, and Mr. Jairam for also, providing a lot of very valuable information on the MSME sector and what the BCIC particularly, is doing in this space. And of course, I'm grateful to Mr. Raju Bhatnagar for setting up, this interaction. And I know him from many years, and he has been a great friend and also quite visionary in the stuff that he has been doing. So let me share with you a presentation. It's a short presentation, but just to get the conversation going as to how we can help MSMEs become future ready and be able to identify and grow new business opportunities. So that's the core focus. How do you expand business opportunities, and how do you help these organizations to become future ready? So let me share with you this presentation. So let's go to entire screen. Okay. So I hope you can see my PowerPoint. Are you able to see this?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. So as I mentioned, the main focus of today's discussion is helping MSMEs expand business opportunities and become future ready. Now, I represent a startup which is called Multiverz. We are based out of Singapore. And after I left the World Bank, in fact, I took early retirement from the World Bank, I was very keen on leveraging digital technologies for social impact. So I thought, all said and done, the World Bank, of course, it finances huge amounts to governments. But in terms of really being more agile and being more social impact focused in the case of digital technologies, I thought maybe there's a scope for me to work outside of the World Bank and set up a company and then see how we can take this agenda forward. So our mission is we expand business opportunities and catalyze social impact. And our vision is a world better prepared for the uncertainties of the future. Because if you look at the future, I think with all this acceleration in technologies, with the changing business models, we are going to see a lot of disruption and a lot of churn in what are called as labor markets going forward. There's a latest report from the World Economic Forum, which is the Future of Jobs Report 2023. And it says that we are going to have new technologies adding something like 69 million jobs by 2026, but we will lose 83 million jobs, which means there will be a net loss in the number of jobs which will be created. And to that extent, I feel that a country like India, which has such a youthful population, and we have so many companies, we really need to carefully think and prepare for this emerging world so that we can transition in a much smoother and a better way rather than be impacted by all these changes around us. If you look at generative AI, for example, all these large language models, if you look back 1 year ago, prior to November of 2022, the world was very different. In just 1 year, we find that so much change has happened and so many companies are impacted, especially on the media side and on companies which are into creative output. They are really severely impacted by what's happening on generative AI. And this will only continue because I find that new technologies which are coming up will be even more disruptive. I am in Hyderabad today, and yesterday Vinny and we met with a company, and they shared with us what they are developing and where the future is heading. It was fascinating, but was also terrifying because if this is what technology will be able to accomplish in the future, we will find that companies will be impacted in ways which are not which have not been anticipated, and therefore it is really important for every company, and especially for organization like BCIC, to be to be identifying that where is the world heading, what implications it may have for our companies, and how do we prepare for that future. So that's the basic purpose of what we are doing in Multiverz. Incidentally, we participated in a global challenge which was launched by the German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. It was a challenge on digital for climate change. And we also participated in the challenge for looking at what might be innovative solutions for the city of Porto Viejo in Ecuador. And I'm happy to announce that we emerged as the global winners of that challenge. Now, today's agenda, which was circulated along with details of this event, it focused on 4 basic questions, and I will try to see how to address these questions as we go forward. So the first question, and this is an existential question for MSMEs, is how can MSMEs stay competitive in a world of rapidly advancing technologies and business trends? Second is, how can MSMEs systematically identify new business opportunities? The third question I will be addressing today is,
Sir, we lost you. Your picture is frozen, sir. Mr. Sudan?
Rupa, call him on the mobile and tell him that he lost out. He may not be knowing.
I'm dialing him, sir.
Dr. Devarajan, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. See, on one side, we are talking of international.
Yes, sir.
Is he there? Have you got
Yes,
him?
sir.
Yeah, I think Randeep on the line. Yeah, I think.
Yes,
Doctor,
yes.
sir,
He's back, sir.
Right. So at what point did you lose me, by the way?
agenda.
Agenda.
Oh, so you lost me very early on. I'm
That
sorry.
number one is over. Number two, you.
Agenda number 3.
Okay. Thank you. I will go right away. So we were, in fact, at agenda number 3, right? So basically, how can MSMEs benefit from international expertise and innovative ideas? And how can MSMEs combine their challenges and solve them? So let's start with the first issue, which is on how can MSMEs be competitive in a world which is fast changing. So to be competitive, you need to understand what the competition or where the competition is going, and what might be new threats which might come in terms of competition going forward. So how do you identify where is the competition going? So one is, of course, to pick up some market signals, look at some news, and try to identify this. But we feel that a very critical way of identifying the competitive threats is to look at what are the skills being hired by the competition. And that competition may not only be in one's own vertical, but there may be adjacent verticals, or there may be completely different verticals where hiring trends can give us some signal as to where things are going in terms of simply hiring people. So say if even if you look at bigger companies, if Apple starts suddenly hiring people in the auto industry from the auto sector, it gives a hint that maybe Apple is thinking of some product which might be related to the auto industry. So similarly, if we are looking at, say, for agro foods as a vertical, it might be possible to look at agro food companies across the world, identify those skills which are outlier skills, which give us an indication of where some of these companies might be heading and what that competition might look like. So that's one capability in terms of extracting skills from job postings, for example, and being able to monitor as to what is happening in areas which are either in the same vertical or adjacent vertical or in a different vertical, but relevant to the MSME sector. So that's one thing that is important. The second, of course, is to look at technologies, because in today's world, technology is one of the main drivers for competitiveness. So where are technologies heading for a particular vertical? One can or one needs to do some element of patent analytics and also look at science and technology publications. And of course, hiring itself gives an idea of what technologies companies are adopting, because when they give a job posting, they are asking for expertise in certain technologies. So that also is a signal. And this analysis can give us a good understanding of where potential competition might come from, and whether we should be preparing for certain things which are very small, very tiny at this point in time, but might become very, very serious threats as those small signals become amplified into the future. So that's one area where actually Multiverz is focused. We are looking at analytics to track skills and technologies. Now, there's another way to see where the competition is going, and that is just to benchmark against other companies. So what we have developed in Multiverz is a platform which identifies excellence. So you are all aware that there are review platforms like Trustpilot, like TrustRadius, like Clutch.co, and people go there and they rate companies and products by giving somebody a 1-star rating or a 5-star rating, and to that extent people also consult these ratings before they make business decisions. We feel that sometimes these ratings are not very accurate. So somebody may have some ill will towards a company, or a competitor might, not be happy. So some of these ratings get distorted. They do not really reflect the actual situation on the ground. Number one. Number two is, many times these ratings are from one perspective. It might be from the perspective of a customer, or in the case of Glassdoor, it might be from the perspective of employees. But we feel that you have to have a overall 360-degree perspective if you are really trying to benchmark a company. So this platform that we have developed, we accept and profile 5-star ratings. That means we capture excellence. And if somebody has to give a 3-star or 2-star or 1-star rating, they can certainly give it, but it goes in private to the company. Because if you know that your critical rating is going to go in private, you are likely to be more constructive in your feedback, rather than try to sully somebody's reputation and to hurt them in some manner or form. So this is a platform which we have developed, and we are just starting to roll it out. And we would be really happy to capture the excellence of companies which are part of BCIC, and profile them on this platform. And by the way, these reviews that we capture are verified reviews. So we will ensure that they are authentic. It's not that a company can just engineer and synthesize certain reviews just to have more positive ratings on this platform. Now, the way that we see this platform working out is that if you have 5-star ratings, and if you compare two competitors, one may have 10 5-star ratings, another may have 30 ratings, and the areas in which we are capturing ratings is also structured here. For example, we've used the Baldrige Excellence Awards criteria, and we've adapted that as part of this platform. So if we have that data on reviews, we can generate the analytics as to how do you compare with the competition, where you are better, where the competition is better, where there might be opportunities for improvement, even while we are capturing 5-star ratings and capturing excellence as part of this platform. So this platform becomes a very safe space because it is non-threatening. All we are doing is capturing where you are doing exceedingly well and profiling it and showcasing that as part of this platform. So this is another area where, using such platforms, one may be able to get the analytics which can also help us to deal with competition in a better way. So this is addressing the first question of how do you deal with competition. I hope you are able to hear me clearly now.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Clear, sir.
perfect. Now let's come to the second question, which is, how can MSMEs systematically identify new business opportunities? Now, when you have to identify new business opportunities, there is a domain called strategic foresight, which is a disciplined way of identifying new opportunities. Now, this strategic foresight, generally you have big books on this topic, but there is a lack of a disciplined process which is very clearly laid out and which is embedded in a platform. There are hardly any places where you can find this in a systematic and platform-centric way. So what we have done is, from Multiverz, we went across to some of and consulted some of the futurists, including a futurist by the name of Amy Zalman. She was the former president of the World Futurists organization, and she also was professor of strategic foresight at Georgetown University in the US. But we developed a process which is a 10-step process. And this process, if we go step by step, helps us to identify future opportunities in a very systematic, methodical, and disciplined way. So the first starting point of this process is that if you are thinking about the future, what aspect of the future are you thinking about? What is the problem that you would like to focus on? Now, when people look at a problem, they look at it from a single perspective. Okay, that my problem is, how do I double my revenues in the next 2 years? Say that is the problem. But when you look at even how do I double my revenues in the next 2 years, there can be multiple ways of looking at that problem. In fact, there is something called the Phoenix checklist, which that checklist has 40 odd questions to clarify what a problem is. So which means you have to look at a problem statement from 40 different angles to be able to explore what is the essence of that problem and what is it that you should be really looking out for or solving. Now, what we have managed to do is that we find that with generative AI tools, you can actually address these 40 different angles in a much easier and in a much better way by using these tools. But that is the first step, that how do you explore the problem? Then, of course, once you have clearly defined the problem that you are going to solve, then you have to research. So you have to do some research on the landscape, which is that who are your competitors, who are the companies which are leaders, who are the ones which are challengers, and who are the companies which are disruptors. So we profile that what is the landscape in terms of leadership, in terms of challenges, in terms of disruption, which is relevant to that problem area. And then once you have that idea about the landscape, then we do something called horizon scanning. So when we are looking at business opportunities, it is not just looking at that single market. One has to look at multiple dimensions. For example, geopolitics might have some implications for future business opportunities. So what's happening between the US and China has clear implications for relocation of industries in India, for example. Or what's happening between Taiwan and China has implications for the semiconductor industry, and there are risks and there might be opportunities. So horizon scanning, it looks at different domains. So it looks at geopolitics, looks at economics, obviously looks at technology, looks at society, looks at media, looks at environment, looks at regulation. So there are 10 dimensions which need to be looked at, and then one has to integrate this thinking in terms of where the opportunities lie. One of the most important ways of identifying opportunities in this discipline is something called a weak signal. So something which may start as a weak signal, which may not be very obvious, but if amplified, might have huge implications, is something which needs to be captured. So just like in the case of generative AI, a weak signal was ChatGPT 3.5, when it just started. But now you see how these models are becoming so much more capable. And according to Gartner, 80% of companies will have to integrate ChatGPT or generative AI into their processes and systems by 2026, which is just around the corner. So that aspect of identifying signals is part of horizon scanning. And then you validate that whether whatever research has been done is relevant and what is the company's perspective on that. So with the company team inside, you validate that, and then you develop some scenarios and see that what might be a preferred scenario which you would like to pursue. So you are not locked into the present, but you are thinking about the future. And then there is something called backcasting. Just like we have forecasting. Forecasting is taking the past and projecting it into the future. We have something called backcasting. You identify a preferred future which you would like to attain and backcast it to what you should be doing today. And often what happens is that what companies are doing today is very different from what actually they should be focusing on if they are to remain competitive, if they are to expand their business opportunities going forward. And that tension can be extremely useful for companies when they're looking at the future. So these scenarios are important. And then, of course, you list out all the opportunities for a company, but not all opportunities are equal. You look at near-term, medium-term, long-term opportunities. Then you see which of these opportunities actually the company needs to take action. So list out all the actions which are near, medium, long-term in order of importance. There is something called the Eisenhower matrix to be able to prioritize those actions. So do the prioritization and identify high priority actions, and then do the backcasting so that those actions can be implemented as we go along. So often what happens is that companies are caught up in the day-to-day, because they have problems every day which they are tackling. There are quarterly results for which their employees are responsible. They are trying to organize so many things. So in that process, you tend to lose the long-term perspective where actually the opportunities might lie for you, and which would be super important as you're growing the company and really thinking strategically about the future. So where we can help is that we can connect universities to do this exercise for companies. And we have actually tried out student teams from Ivy League institutions and other institutions as well. So we've had students from Berkeley, from Princeton, there's a university called Lund in Sweden, from Tilburg in the Netherlands, from ESCP, which was the world's first business school in Paris, with the University of Queensland in Australia. And as a company, we have also tried working with the International Institute of Information Technology in Hyderabad. And we have used this process to test out with MBA students from the IIM Nagpur. So both Vinny and I, we teach a course on strategic foresight in IIM Nagpur, which we just finished about a week ago, the last course. And we got the students to work on this process and see if they come up with different insights. So when you ask a student about what insights, in this problem, when you ask them before the process, they have some ideas. But when they go through the process, the thinking and the ideation is completely transformed, and they come up with ideas and suggestions which they had never thought of. So there is much value in going through this process systematically, engaging with academic institutions and experts who are industry experts, and coming up with very concrete near-term actions which should be taken if one has to realize those long-term opportunities. So that's a way that we can deal with this question too about new business opportunities. Now the third area is that, okay, you have looked at the competitive landscape, which was question 1. You have identified where the opportunities are, which was question 2. Now, how do you implement this? How do you get the best expertise and the best ideas to be able to design a product or design a process or to actually realize that business opportunity which you have identified? So how to do that? Now, we feel that, of course, India is a very talented country. We have a huge amount of talent and expertise, but Indian companies should think global from the get-go. So one should think that what is the best solutions and the best ideas and the best expertise internationally that we should be able to bring to whatever business opportunity that we have identified. So for this Multiverz, we have developed an open innovation platform, and which is called the Challenges platform. And here we can profile the problem or what exactly we are trying to get ideas on, and see that people from across the world are contributing to those ideas. Generally, these challenge platforms are based on prize money. So you have HeroX, that's one platform. You have Wazoku, which is another platform. There is Agorize. All these platforms are prize money based. In fact, even the US government's challenge.gov platform is based on prize money. But we know that, if it is an MSME, if it's even, SMEs, even if they get together, offering prizes, is not that easy. So our platform actually not only accommodates prize money, but it also accommodates micro credentials. So if people are participating in giving ideas or in trying to solve a thing, they might earn a micro credential instead of a prize. These might be part of courses that universities are running. And to that extent, participation here becomes important, because university education is also evolving to be problem oriented rather than domain, just teaching something in the classroom. So the best universities are changing their model, that you take a problem and you try to solve it, because that's the best way to impart education. So this platform, which we have developed, is essentially catering to these various possibilities, which would allow universities, researchers, and experts to connect and give ideas and make suggestions in terms of open innovation. So that's another part. Now, the last thing is that how can MSMEs combine their challenges and solve them? I think it is very important for organizations like the BCIC, which can play a critical role in this. So just imagine if you have certain SMEs, who are members, individually it may become difficult for them to, to be able um, to participate in all this. And it may also, we may have some economies of scale in working as an association or combining SMEs which are interested, and then trying to see how we can engage with them on their area of interest systematically, as I explained to you, by identifying what's happening on the competitive landscape, what's happening in hiring, what skills are being hired, what technologies are being embedded in competitive products, where the competition is heading. Right from there, looking at how we can capture excellence, how we can start looking at challenges, how we can use all these platforms and leverage global expertise and really good ideas, and see that we become much more capable and we are much better off when we go forward. There is also one idea which would apply to medium enterprises more than SMEs or more than small enterprises. That idea is that these medium enterprises, say like Dr. Devarajan was mentioning about digitization, even Mr. Jairam mentioned about it, industry 3.0, 4.0, and beyond. Now, say if you're looking at digitization, what happens is that how do you train your people, or how do you make them aware about the opportunities on digitization? So one way of doing that might be to actually exchange staff with companies which are on the digital side. So I'll give you an example, and this is a bigger example, but can apply to medium enterprise as well. So for example, Procter and Gamble and Google. So Procter and Gamble is a consumer oriented company, whereas Google is a tech company. So what they do is they exchange staff for 1 month, where Google staff get embedded in Procter and Gamble. Procter and Gamble staff get embedded in Google. Now what happens is that when this P&G staff are in Google, they understand where the technology is heading, what are the capabilities being built. And when Google guys go to P&G, they understand what is the P&G business, what advertising revenues we can get from them. So it is a mutual win-win, where because these companies are exchanging staff for short durations, actually they are expanding their business opportunities within their own domains or within their own businesses in a much better way. So just imagine that there are medium companies, and we identify certain very capable companies in technology which may be working on generative AI. Just taking an example. So say there might be staff from this medium company going to this company working on generative AI, and understand that what is the power and potential of this technology and how we could take advantage of it. The generative AI guys come to this company and they realize, oh, these are the processes of this company, these are the products these guys are manufacturing. So our technology can actually help them dramatically in terms of their bottom line in areas A, B, C, and D. Now that interconnection, that flow of talent across organizational boundaries can become a very powerful way of networking, upskilling, because many companies want to upskill, but you cannot upskill in a vacuum, right? You have to upskill in a context. So this context becomes, how do you help improve my bottom line? How do you help me improve my goods and services, become globally competitive, and work in a way which is a little different from what the companies are normally used to working. So I feel that all these ideas that I shared with you have been developed by my company Multiverz, because we believe that you cannot provide just a single solution to a problem which has multiple dimensions. So we must be able to provide an ecosystemic approach, a more holistic approach to expanding business opportunities, helping companies to become future ready, and also help to become future ready in terms of skilling and in terms of business opportunities. So this is the way that we have been thinking about things and developing our platforms and products. And by the way, I will be in Bangalore next week. So if there is interest, if there is any interest from any of the participants here or from the BCIC, I'm happy to meet with you. Vinny also will be with me, and we are happy to scope out and identify concrete areas where we can be of help to you. And I'm happy to inform you that there is traction on what we are doing. Just yesterday, we got 2 investors in Hyderabad who, said that they will invest $1 million into Multiverz. And to that extent, we are upbeat, and we think that the market has an appetite for what we are doing, and we can make a difference, because at the end of the day, we are laser focused on social impact. Thank you. So these are just the areas where we can add value: basically competitor analysis, skill acquisition, strategic foresight, and open innovation. I'm mindful of the time, so I thought, let me just stop here. We can't hear you, Mr. Jairam. You are on mute.
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for a very illuminating and a very thought-provoking presentation. I think most of it is really futuristic, and which is so a determinant factor for our current existence.
Right.
In fact, your statement reminds me of a gentleman who told me, when you are fighting with the crocodiles, it is hard to see the horizon.
Exactly, exactly.
So most of us, are trying to fight against the crocodile for our existence. Crocodiles of the regulations, government, and then the bureaucracy, and then the market problems, and then the future financial problems, etc. We hardly think of the future.
Correct.
And you're very right. I think mixing of the companies. I was reminded of a few decades ago when Pepsi merged with Apple by changing the CEO itself.
Yeah.
John Scully became the chairman of Apple.
And he threw out Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do we have time for a question Q&A?
Yes. Absolutely.
We can entertain some questions from our participants. Anybody have some questions for Dr. Randeep?
And I'll be happy to meet with the participants, anyone. In fact, we are willing to work initially, without any cost, because we want to establish, our value proposition. And the first 5 companies which are interested, we would be happy to work with them on a zero cost basis, actually. So if there are any interest in that, happy to connect personally when I'm in Bangalore.
Yeah, would you probably, I think you can give your details of your program to Rupa. And
right.
You would coordinate with the members, and I will also just spread it across your visits, the agenda, program, everything.
Thank you so much. There's one Miss Padmavati who's, let me see. Maybe I can get those details from Miss Rupa, those people who are showing some input. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure, sir. I will share it to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, and welcome to Bangalore. And do give us a call, and maybe if you have time, and we can meet together. When are you here?
Absolutely. And it would be such a pleasure to meet with you personally, Mr. Jairam or Dr. Devarajan. It would be an honor, and definitely it would be great.
So when are you coming to Bangalore?
So I will be in Bangalore the whole of next week. So I come on Sunday, and from Monday onwards, I'm available till Saturday.
Okay, great.
We'll fix a time with you, and then we will have a meeting.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Jairam.
Thank you very much. If there is no questions, then we will we will close this session, and we meet again next week, more offline than online.
Yes, and thank you so much for the kind words, including Mr. Ramarao.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sir, you can always visit our. We have a chamber in MG Road, and if you are around on 20th, where
Yes.
we have our management committee meeting around 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So you can always introduce to all the other members of BCI, the management committees. Also,
No.
if you have time, you can join that. But it was
No,
very
no, I will
useful.
find
And,
time.
your idea of social and getting into where people are taking for their new members. That's a new one. That's a new concept altogether. And
Right.
we'll see how to work with you, sir, and see and take it forward. Thank you very much,
No.
and thank you, Raju Patnagar, for organizing this, and Jairam for your this thing. And thank you very much, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. We look forward to meeting you in Bangalore at our
Yes,
office.
definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.